I cannot play Fallout 76, guys. I am literally sick to my stomach. So this is going to be just a simple PSA for you guys out there. This is not going to be a review of Fallout 76. I can't review the game. Basically, what has happened with this game is that for those who are motion sickness, or at least prone to motion sickness by way of a very narrow FOV and a very claustrophobic gaming experience, then you will not be able to play Fallout 76 without getting sick. I really thought that Bethesda was actually going to put in an FOV slider, which is basically an option in the menu that allows you to expand the perspective of the game in first person. But they actually did not do that, surprisingly so we have to assume that it was a limitation of the actual engine, meaning that they could not do it even if they wanted to. So what has happened is that I've got my review copy for Fallout 76, and I played it for a few hours, and I think within about 20 minutes I was literally nauseous to the point where I had to get off the computer and lay down. And that's never a good thing for a gamer, because there's a lot of people out there who, just like me, are prone to motion sickness. Hopefully this guy is not as well, but what I'm trying to say is, if you at any point in your gaming history have felt nausea or like maybe seasickness kind of feelings or motion sickness while playing a video game, be very careful about Fallout 76. And the reason I'm actually making this video is because you can't actually buy this game on Steam, which would allow you to actually refund the game really, really quickly and easily if this actually happened to you. You actually have to buy this game on Bethesda.net, and from personal experience I know that the refund process is a lot more difficult on that platform, so you might want to be a little bit more careful in this instance. Why it's such an issue is that the game not only is claustrophobic by itself. I mean, you take a look at the actual screen window here. This is me playing at 1440p, which is 2560 by 1440, which is a 16 by 9 resolution, which should work fine, which it does. But the actual window here of view is so narrow. I feel incredibly boxed in to the point where just moving around and you know, moving my mouse left and right is actually making me nauseous because it's so confining of an experience. And every single first-person shooter out there should absolutely 100% without a shadow of a doubt include an FOV slider, because so many people out there suffer from motion sickness. Now, you can't actually hit the V button here if you're playing on PC to go into third person, which is the only relief from first person, but as you can see here, it's incredibly boxed in as well. The character is literally taking up half the screen, so not only does it not fit the theme of Fallout for me and completely ruin the experience and the immersion by going to the third person, but by itself is actually pretty nauseating too. To think that we exist in a world today where there are so many accessibility features, so many disability features, so many graphical options to make these issues go away, the fact that Fallout 76 doesn't have the most baseline one of them, which is an FOV slider, which stands for field of view, it blows my mind. What irks the crap out of me is that this game was made on Bethesda's like 15-year-old engine. By itself, they needed to make a new engine for Fallout 76 because the game looks like crap. As you guys can see, it looks like one of those $30 survival games you find on Steam. I'm not trying to, badmouth the game here, but just objectively speaking, the game looks really bad. Bad texture work, absolutely atrocious performance, frame rate problems all over the place, and just a very confining FOV on top of that. There's also a hazing blurring effect. You guys see this in the background? For some reason, the background in Fallout 76 is obscured out with this very cloudy, hazy blur effect. Specifically here and down over here as well. It's very strange because this is the type of blurring effect that cameras use when you're actually not focusing on that background. So given the fact that we're actually trying to focus out there and all we see is this blurry mess, it adds to the sense of motion sickness for me because it's just really, washed out and really faded out. It's bizarre. Why would they choose to do this? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm actually focusing out here with my cursor. I'm the one that's focusing my focal point, yet it's still blurry. It would make sense if I was taking a picture here and I was focusing in this field of view right here and the rest of it back here was actually blurred out, to actually show some contrast. That's totally fine. That's how cameras work. But I'm focusing back here. I'm the one with the focal point. In combination with the very narrow FOV and this hazing effect, it's a nightmare for me to play this game, and no, I'm not going to actually review Fallout 76 because I can't bring myself to play it. In fact, doing this right now is actually taking a lot out of me. I'm starting to feel the effects of motion sickness right now, and it's actually a real issue. in this industry that a lot of people suffer from. So for Bethesda to take it so lightly and not include this basic primitive caveman feature that every game needs that's in this perspective, it just baffles me. It blows my mind. To think that this is a game released in 2018 that doesn't have this simple feature is, it's not just an omission of, laziness. It's literally disrespect by Bethesda. I mean, if you're going to develop a game like this, and go to the trouble of making this amazing world, which, by the way, the aesthetics in Fallout 76 and the music are absolutely drop-dead gorgeous. It's fantastic. But the fact that so many people are not going to be able to enjoy them is such a crime. I didn't enjoy the beta very much, but I was willing to give this game another shot if they were able to fix the FOV. Because in the beta, I was getting the same motion sickness, which was brought on by the same two issues. This narrow FOV and this strange hazing, blur fade effect in the background, which really messes with my eyesight. So not only do I have a motion issue, but I also have a focal point issue, and you combine those two, it's a mess. And I'm making this video because I'm not the only one suffering from Fallout 76 motion sickness problems. In fact, you can just simply Google, I'll show this on the screen right now, you can simply Google Fallout 76 motion sickness right now, and there are dozens, if not hundreds of threads of people complaining about the beta and the fact that they were getting nauseous while playing this game. So this was an issue that was at the forefront of Bethesda. They knew about this when the beta came out. Of course they knew about this. This is a technical limitation with their engine that they chose to let slide. And look what happened. You've got a game here that I can't even play. And I'm most certainly not going to play it like this, because this is beyond dumb, in my opinion. I'm sorry, I just can't play Fallout 76 as a third-person game. It just goes against everything that I felt immersed by with Fallout's, New Vegas, Fallout 3, and of course Fallout 4. It's a shame, dude. So be warned, guys. Be warned right now if you're going to pick up Fallout 76 and you have any history of motion sickness, be warned. And if you think, oh man, I'm just going to go into the data files of the game and I'm just going to, force out the FOV myself. Well, as we all know, it's been reported that the FOV is actually tied to the UI. So if you force the FOV out, you're actually going to clip out some of the stuff on the sides of the screen, and it's going to look like a complete and utter mess. So that is not an option. I'm disappointed, man. Not only am I disappointed in this motion sickness problem, I guess I can give you guys my general thoughts as well if you didn't check out my beta impressions. The game looks like crap. The gunplay actually needed a rehaul, and it didn't get one. The real-time VATS is a nice, adjustment from Fallout 4 and such, but it's basically glorified auto-aim. The game really needed a more impactful combat system with lots of, feedback visually, lots of impact with the guns. Unfortunately, it just feels like you're shooting pea shooters, and it doesn't really have a lot of weight behind it. So in terms of the gameplay, it's a bit lackluster, to be honest, especially for a Fallout game, which, really needed some new gameplay mechanics and work on its gameplay systems in this new 2018 version of Fallout. It was way overdue. So some of the other stuff I didn't like was also the lack of NPCs. That was a huge turnoff for me. In fact, just going from quest to quest and being shepherded around by audiobooks and audio tapes and computer terminals and robots, it just creates this weird, isolated, non-RPG feel. And I know this is a survival game, so they did actually nail this feeling of loneliness because, when you actually play this game and there's not other people around, this map is really big, so you do feel really lonely sometimes, like it's just you versus the world, and they did actually nail that. But Fallout is also about the RPG stuff, the storytelling, the narrative, the characters, the pacing, all that stuff. That just kind of got washed away for me in terms of like maybe 5 or 6 hours of play, which, by the way, that was 5 or 6 hours of painfully nauseous play at that. But in terms of the good stuff, the music is fantastic. It's a Fallout. It's got that Fallout vibe and charm. The actual aesthetics of the game are really great. It's unfortunate that they are not realized in very much high definition. Like I said before, the game looks like dog doo-doo. And it just feels very much Fallout in terms of like the UI, the Pip-Boy here. It's all here. It's got the sounds, the sights, and the smells, as they say, of a Fallout game, as it should. But if you create a video game that literally makes people sick because you're unwilling to go to the trouble of actually improving your technology so that people can scale up the FOV to make themselves in a position of playability, then I just don't know what to say. But in terms of the actual technical features and the lack of accessibility features and disability features, such as an FOV slider, I'm hard-pressed to recommend a game like this to just about anyone who's had any history of motion sickness. Yeah, this sucks, especially now that we know that there will never be an FOV slider, as stated by Bethesda in Fallout 76. So this issue will never go away. So I gotta go lay down, guys. I'm not feeling too well. You guys take care.